So, hello, Carli. Good morning, good afternoon. Lovely to see your face again.
Hi,
Um,
Kate.
so, today I really just wanted to connect with you to have a moment to reflect on what it is to have a power partnership, because this is a fairly new concept to me and something that you've been working with for some time. And we've just co-created and delivered our very first retreat together, which was extraordinary. And we're both still vibrating pretty high off the back of that incredible creation. And so maybe if we can just start with just introducing yourself, where you are in the world and what you do, and then we can move into talking about the power partnership.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carli Leimbach, and I'm currently in a little telephone booth in a co-working space called WeWork in Piermont, Sydney. And I'm a coach and a facilitator and a design thinker and a creative strategist. So I've spent probably the last 20 years in the creative industries working in different roles, but largely supporting, I guess, new ideas, innovation, new projects, new ways of thinking. What I just picked up this morning, insatiable curiosity, is something that I like to evoke in clients, in new projects, and in myself. And in the last 3 years, where I've been doing very deep and quite intensive study with Dr. Claire Zammit and feminine power, I've really seen my mission, if you want to call it that, to get behind, to back, support, amplify women to step up into their leadership, whether that's leading in their families, in their communities. I'm super excited to be talking about power partnerships, because I think, aside from coaching, being able to set up a power partnership with someone you know, or someone you want to know better, is powerful. It's been hugely helpful for me, and I think it really goes beyond what we'll talk about in terms of the difference between a friendship. But that's probably enough said for now.
Yeah, so I think what really struck me about you when I first saw you facilitating, I came to one of your, it was a We Circle Summer Solstice gathering, and it was in this beautiful venue, House of Brand, in the center of Sydney in the middle of summer, and there was maybe 25, 30 women there, and I was just struck by this sense of presence that you have and the grace with which you facilitate and hold space. And we moved through a number of different provocations to inquire into our inner world and what we were looking to create and manifest in the year to come. And I'd been facilitating women's circles, sort of using the tools that were accessible to me as a yoga teacher and meditation teacher. And it was often in ritual and ceremony and with movement and embodiment practice. And inside of being present with the circle that you were hosting, I was thinking, this is such a beautiful complement and quite different to the kinds of women's circles that I've been hosting. And just, I think maybe it's your experience in facilitating with you at university and, being a design thinker, and just thinking, wow, this is a really interesting approach, and how could we bring these two worlds together. And I sort of sat with that interest for a few months, and one day I gave you a call, and I was in my car, and I just said, I'm thinking of doing this winter solstice retreat, and I'm looking for someone to work with, and would you be interested? And I think the first thing you said was that you'd been thinking of exactly the same thing, and maybe if you could give a little bit of background into where you were and how that moment happened for you, just to expand on that.
Well, I like what you've been talking about, because I think when we were coming up with a name for this experience, we played with this idea of retreat and immersion. And so this idea that we're providing a safe and trusted space for women who are busy and often are multitasking and have a lot of other caretaking roles in their lives. So it is a retreat in terms of providing them time and space away from their families and work to get rest and be rejuvenated and be in nature and be well fed and have meditation and yoga and ceremony and ritual, and also be able to meet and have the friendship of a beautiful, curated, I'd like to say,
it really
group
was,
of women.
wasn't it? A very curated group, and perhaps just by virtue of the fact of the women that we were connected to, but it seemed like a very consciously curated group at the time. Lots of creatives and artists and intellectuals and mothers. Yeah, interesting. Very
and a readiness for everyone to also, I guess, on the other side is this immersion piece. So this want to really do the work, to have a breakthrough in an area of their life and to create something new. And I think from the beginning, in how we promoted it, but also in the questions and in the mentoring calls that we had with each participant, and then throughout the whole experience, we're always focusing in on what do they want to create. So we're really helping them almost as midwives through that process. So when they come to the end, they can really see the result of the experience on them, and they can come out feeling different and knowing a new possibility in a very embodied way, that they show up for themselves. And I'm hoping, and what I'm seeing, and I know that you've got feedback already from some of the participants, that it's only now 4 days on and amazing things are happening. They're really stepping up. They're feeling new possibilities are present. People are responding to them differently. It's quite phenomenal, even inside of 4 days, what is happening for them.
And we haven't even had our formal debrief yet, but lots is going on for me too. I don't know about
really are good.
Good stuff. But just thinking about, our initial kind of coming together as the vision started to unfold, I remember saying very early, because at the very beginning of the year, I'd been calling in collaborations and doing more live events. This is my year of sort of taking a little break from all the offline stuff, all the online stuff I was doing last year, and bringing some more juiciness to the live facilitation and process. And I remember saying to you, I would really love for this to be a conscious process between us, if we can see it as an opportunity to learn from one another and mirror one another back and grow together and evolve and have a process that feels really rich, and in a way that felt as important to me as the outcome that we were creating. And I think when we do focus on a process that's really nourishing and intentional, even just having check-ins. I remember jumping on the phone with you sometimes, and we'd start kind of launching into the how and the what and the logistics, and then we'd just take a step back and go, all right, let's just do a check-in with one another, and bringing our whole selves to that collaboration. So yeah, and I really appreciate the phrase power partnership, which came up maybe a little towards the end, and going, that's what this is. And so for the listeners, if we can now start to expand into what is a power partnership and how is it different from just kind of any other kind of friendship or collaboration, and what are the differences and things to look for a power partnership?
I think with a power partnership, it's about the intention that you just spoke of, and that making it conscious. So it is almost an agreement. And we talked a little bit in the at the retreat. See, there you go, retreat immersion. About
it's so much more than a retreat. We're not having cocktails lying on a hammock. Oh no.
You can have that afterwards. It's fine. You can have it afterwards. So yeah, I think it's about really consciously making a choice as to who you want to power partner with, and that both of you are in agreement about that, and that there's an intention as to why you're coming together, and even for how long. But what it is a growth relationship. So you're coming together to evolve, and you're in service of each other's potential and possibilities. So, like we spoke about earlier, someone who's wanting to have a breakthrough or growth or evolution or empowerment in an area, and both of you are standing for that. And so it's really this feeling of giving mutual support, being there for each other, and feeling like someone's got your back. And even if in times when you're not believing that possibility for yourself, they are mirroring something bigger and deeper and wider for you. And it's huge. And I think how that differs from girlfriends, or maybe a lot of our girlfriend relationships, is it's based on comfort and kind of soothing, and often it's familiar, and we stay kind of locked in a similar way of relating. And that's not good or bad. It's just a different way of seeing and responding to each other. So in Power Partners, you agree to have, if needed, the difficult conversations, you know, because you're there to really stand for someone's potential. You're there to inquire, you're there to challenge, you're there to help them find meaning, and to, what I like to say now, is to compost what didn't work and then take further action. Whereas I think sometimes with girlfriends, we can kind of fall into agreement around what's wrong or what's difficult, and blame others or blame ourselves. And it's a different dynamic.
Yeah, like in terms of sometimes having a bit of a whinge fest together. It does keep us small. Like, it's nice to be able to hear or to be listened to when we have certain complaints about things that are not working. But there is kind of an enabling with some friendships. I do notice in my own life, people maybe just allow me to continue to bang around in my own compost heap. And I guess the difference with a power partner is they'd say, you know, you've been talking about that for a while now. I wonder how it would feel for you to kind of rise above that, and maybe we can talk about some of the possibilities and what the future might look like. Or, you know, as difficult as that may be sometimes, but I think power partnerships give you a language and some resources around how to do that in a way that we know we're committed to each other's growth, and that if there is a difficult conversation to have, that it's one that allows us to move to a better place together. Yes.
And you might, or they might know we might not know what that looks like. So it's also about being insatiably curious. You know, you're kind of living into this emergent field of, well, let's imagine, and let's kind of share together how we could start to create that for you. It's also an accountability buddy where you can report in and you can be congratulated and someone can really reflect back some difficult things that you might have done, or some brave acts, and or even when you're feeling, you know, vulnerable or just need to share and have a kind word. They're not someone who's going to kind of whip you necessarily. I mean, they might definitely be a positive nudge forward, but it is a container in which you can feel safe and trusted, and it has integrity, and it's holding to your strengths. So and I think it's great to be working together on a combined project, but it doesn't necessarily need to be that. You might be doing two very different things.
Yeah, just hearing you talk, I was thinking about what happened in Mullumbimby back in October, because, it doesn't need to be a collaboration. It just happens that we've sort of fallen into this very conscious collaboration, which has enabled us to celebrate one another's greatness and move into creating something that we couldn't have otherwise alone, and that's become a power partnership. But I remember back in October, we were thinking about putting on an event up in Mullumbimby. Both of our mothers live up in that area, and we were going up during the holidays, and we thought, oh, we'll do a circle and we'll produce this thing. And both of us being quite generative types, we wanted to make it, an offering for the community. And we really reached out to a girlfriend up there, Catherine Gray, who's an extraordinary woman, and invited her to partner with us on this. And we jammed the ideas around for a while. And at the end of the day, we just said, oh, what do we really want? We really want actually to have this experience together. We don't want to invite a whole cohort of people in and to be producing an event. We want to give and receive this for one another. And it started off with a trip to the spa, and kind of had some time together there, relaxing and unwinding. And we went for dinner, and it could have easily just been a very casual conversation at dinner. And there was this moment, Carli, when you said, okay, can I make an offering that we all share, where we would like to be supported? Maybe there was a little bit before that, wasn't there? Just to share what we'd been working on, and to make a request, which actually, I think sometimes asking for support can be really hard. And within the container of that meeting of wise women, our Queen's Council, as we called it, having that permission to ask for support actually felt really good, because it was a held space. But then also, hearing you and Michelle and Catherine each ask for support, it actually felt really great as a friend to be able to step forward with an offer. And I'm just reminded how nice it feels to be able to support another woman in her growth and her evolution. And and you do that really well, just kind of making an offer. I'd really love your support on this, putting it out there, and it enables us to step up.
I think, without giving too much away, for those of you who haven't come to the weekend immersion, we do have one that we've just got dates on, so it's super exciting. In spring. Can I talk about that?
Yeah, you can talk about it. Yeah. It's really hot off the press. I haven't even made the deposit yet, so we shouldn't say the dates just yet. But yeah.
All right. Towards the end of the year, 2018, it will be springtime, so it's a great time to come together and to name what it is that we're springing forth. But yes, the women on the final day, there is this connecting to power center 3, which is really about this idea of doing it together, and that we use the visual of geese. When they fly together, they fly further and faster. And I think we added fun. It's much more fun doing it with each other. And so it's really supporting women to move away from the shame and the feeling of helplessness, and that we're going to be judged if we ask for help, to how can we powerfully ask for co-creation, to have someone be our power partner, to create a community, to really name what it is that we would like to be helped with, or where we might be getting stuck or stopped, or where someone could add something that we don't yet have. And it's powerful, because we can't, as Claire Zammit says again and again, we can't become ourselves by ourselves. And I really feel like we need each other. Yeah, so we are better together, and I think that's a whole new trend. When I just went to a talk this morning talking about the complexity of the world that we now live in, we can't be the expert across all sectors. We can't be expected to know everything about everything, particularly with the rapid amount of information and new scientific knowledge and all kinds of things, technologies that are being invented, and new facts and information that's coming at us. So this idea of working collaboratively and in partnerships and being able to share is really so important. So
and something that I really appreciate coming away from the weekend was the idea of that in order to get where we want to go, we can't be operating on a past self kind of mindset or whatever skills or ideas or perspectives that we've had from where we've gotten to so far. And so that idea that where we are here in this moment to what we're looking to manifest and create in our life, that is this big kind of spacious unknown, and we don't have the step by step. And actually there's something really exciting, particularly around the time of the solstice for me, about feeling into the darkness and feeling into the uncertainty, and instead being guided not by the head but by the heart and by intuition and those kind of felt qualities, and what feminine power calls the field, expanding out into that quantum realm that is a little less tangible, a little harder to see, and really moving forward kind of from the heart rather than from the head, because the head likes step by step, and that's not always the way. And that when we are moving from the heart, and when we have friends and power partners to reflect back to us, it's a way to see that which we can't see. I know there have been a number of times when you've reflected back to me things where I've kind of come forth with a thrust of an idea or something, and you've reflected another perspective, and I was like, oh, well, that's so obvious. Like, I see that now, and I couldn't see that on my own. And it actually feels really good to be in that space where it's like you've got other pairs of eyes kind of looking out for you and mirroring you back. And yeah, it's like a really beautiful way to feel really holistically resourced, to have those kinds of relationships in your life, and that you don't have to do it all on your own. You shouldn't have to.
Well said.
All right, so I think that's about time for us today. I got to shimmy on out of this little studio, but really nice to see your face, beautiful woman, and to share.
Thank you, and we'd love to meet you all. If not this year, then next. Yeah, it's lovely to be in this power partnership and creating, and who knows what will follow. And I love that idea of the unknown and the emergent, and stepping bravely forward, even in the not knowing. So thank you.
So what we do know is that we'll be making an offering very soon. There'll be another opportunity to dive deep with us in a feminine power immersion come spring.
The internet's gone all funny.
Oh, has it? Okay.
Yeah.
There'll be more details revealed soon. All right.
All right. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye.